Welcome, everybody, to our monthly Chocolatey product spotlight live stream for November 2024. It's only, about 6 weeks to Christmas. So today we're going to look at another often overlooked chocolatey package type, the chocolatey template package. Now, this special package type allows the installation of a template which can then be used with the Choco New command when you're creating new packages. As a reminder, we run 2 live streams every month on the first and third Thursday. This is obviously the first Thursday of the month. So this is our product spotlight. So this is where we look at chocolate products, important features, and both recent and upcoming releases. Our other live stream on the third Thursday of each month is called Unpacking Software, and that includes news, chat, and opinion on the world of software and software management, and quite a bit of complaining from me. You can watch us live, catch up later with the podcast and that one as well. Details are in the description of wherever you found this video. Get notified of all the great chocolatey content by joining our community hub on Discord, subscribing to us on YouTube, and clicking the notification bell. Really important to get that notification. Or you can follow us on Twitter or X, Mastodon, LinkedIn, Facebook, Blue Sky, and Twitch. We're on all the things, and you can find those links at the bottom of our homepage, chocolatey.org, and again in the description of wherever you found this video. We want to make sure the content we're streaming here today is what you want to see. We've put together a very quick 10-second survey, which we'd really appreciate you completing at the end of this stream today. You can find that link in the description. I'm actually going to pop it on screen as well. So it's ch0.co/stream survey. There's really only 3 questions in there, I believe, from memory, and only one of them is mandatory, and that's just rating the stream today. The rest of them are completely optional. So again, it takes about 10 seconds, and we would really, really appreciate it. So my name is Paul Broadith, and I'm a technical engineering manager here at Chocolatey Software. I lead the engineering team that is responsible for the products we'll be talking about today. And my co-host, and the one and only master of demos, is Gary Ewan Park. Gary, do you want to introduce yourself? Oh, I can't hear you, Gary. Is that me? Is that a you thing? It's a you thing. Okay.
That is me.
There we go.
Yes, I clicked the mute button prior to you putting me on stream, so that's my fault. My name is Gary Ewan Park. I am a principal software engineer here at Chocolatey, and I have been given the task of informing everyone about all things templates today in Chocolatey. So, looking forward to telling you all about it.
Awesome. So, as I mentioned at the start, today we're going to be looking at the Chocolatey template package. What is it? How do you create one? How do you use it? It's one. If once you have one, the best part about a Chocolatey template package is it's just a normal Chocolatey package. So you can install it, upgrade it, uninstall it, just like you would do with any other package. And same as the chocolate extension package that we covered in last month's product spotlight. The same in the sense that it's one of those ones that people don't talk about a lot. It's kind of it's there, but there's not a lot of spotlight put on it. So that's why we wanted to cover, as I said, the chocolate extension package that we covered last month. And if you missed last month's product spotlight, please check it out on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com/chocolatey software, all one word, and you'll be able to find the live stream from last month. That was it the 5th of October? I think it was. Whatever the first Thursday was. No, it was the 3rd of October. You'll be able to find it there, and you can go through that. So to delve into a little bit more, Gary is going to be the master of demos, as I said, and he's going to be demoing this for us today and showing us some of the magic of Chocolatey template packages. Gary, I will bring your... Oh, that's the wrong one. There we go. We will do this, and there we go. I'll take it away, Gary.
Okay, thank you very much. So where I was planning on starting was, so before we get into what a template package is, I figure we need to establish what a template is and what that is, how that's used, and then what context within Chocolatey CLI. The one thing I did want to point out, though, is there is some documentation on our website, docs.chocolatey.org. The first one here is how to create a package template. It's effectively a walkthrough guide, which was pretty much the basis of what I'm away to walk through, just with some changes. But that's the written version of what you're going to see today. The other one I wanted to point out is that there is a template command. So the Chocolatey CLI has a Choco template command, which I'll be making use of today to both list out and then get information about what templates are installed on my machine. And then the other command that we're going to touch on is the Choco new command, and that's what Paul was referring to. And it's really the Choco new command that makes use of the templates that we are going to have in play here. So first things first, I wanted to give you a brief overview of what I've got on my machine, what I'm doing, and what I've got installed, just so that we've got a baseline of where we are. So if I do Choco here, I've just got the latest version of Chocolatey. And then if I do a Choco list, I don't really have anything installed yet. I've just got Chocolatey, I've got Google Chrome, and I've installed VS Code just so I have it. So speaking about VS Code, if I come over here to VS Code and open it up, I've got a workspace open here that has got two different templates folder. This one is in C temp templates, and that's where I'm going to be doing a lot of the work for creating packages and having a look at the files contained within it. And the second one here is the templates folder within the C program data Chocolatey folder. Now, we spoke about this in our previous live stream where we spoke about the C program data Chocolatey extensions folder. So if I go ahead and open that up in Windows Explorer here, we'll just talk about it again a little bit just so that everyone is on the same page. So these two folders are special folders that Chocolatey CLI manages and maintains. So anytime a Chocolatey extension package is installed, the contents of that package are extracted into this extensions folder, and that's where Chocolatey will load them from. In the same way, there's also a templates folder, and this is where Chocolatey will extract and put the content of a template package, which we'll come on to. The reason I'm pointing this out is because, same way with extensions, you don't have to have a template package in order to have a template. You can come in here and manually construct a folder structure or a set of template files just directly within the file system here. That's not something we typically recommend, simply because you lose the management capabilities of that. At the end of the day, Chocolatey is a package manager, so having Chocolatey be able to control a new version or a new release of that template package and being able to upgrade it and uninstall it, etc., manually crafting those template packages is not, or template files is not necessarily recommended. So we would encourage you to use a template package that we'll come on to in a second. But where I wanted to start, though, is with a little bit of a demo. So I hope you'll forgive me. I do have a demo script that I will be following because I wanted to make sure that I covered everything. So I'm just going to rattle through some of the commands that I've got on my to-do list there, and I'm going to talk through what they do when we execute them. So the first one is if I run Choco template list, what I'm going to get is I'm going to get a list of all the current templates that I have on my machine. Now, obviously, ignore the warnings that are being displayed here. That's just Chocolatey telling me that my system needs a reboot. What Chocolatey CLI is telling me here is that I currently don't have any custom templates installed, and that matches with what we can see over in this templates folder. But what it is telling me is that there is a built-in template, which is called default. Now, the reason that that's important is because that is what the Choco new command will use by default. So if I go ahead and run the next command here, which is Choco template info --name default, I should be able to get additional information about that template. But what we're going to see here, and I wanted to show you this just so that there's no confusion, is that the default template, because it's built in, the information about what's available on that default template doesn't come from the template command, because the template command is really used for the extraction of data about some of the templates in that templates folder, and that's not where the default template lives. So I wanted to show this just so that we could see how to get the information that I'm going to show you, and that's just by running the choco new -- help command instead. So what we're going to see here is we scroll back up past the options that are available on the choco new command. What we'll come up to here and we'll find out about is that there are certain properties that you can pass in. Now, I'm going to explain all of this and why this is important in a second, but I wanted to point out that the Choco new help output is going to list out all of the available properties that you can pass in when you're constructing a package using that default template. Okay, so hopefully all that makes sense. So what we're going to do now is we're going to actually step through and actually create a package. So the first thing first is to answer the question is, well, why do I need to be able to create a package? Why can't I just create those files manually? Now, the short answer there is you absolutely can do that. If you have been a maintainer of packages for a while, or you've got lots of example packages that are lying around, then you don't need to use the Choco new command. But what the Choco new command will do is it will template out all of the files that are needed to create a Chocolatey package. And once you have those templated files in play, you can then construct them to do the installation of the underlying application that you're actually interested in. So rather than having to remember everything, you can literally use the template engine to create the package or scaffold out the package for you. So the first command I'm going to run then to show that in action is I'm just going to run Choco new. And all I need to give it is I need to provide it a name. So package A in this case is going to be my package name, mainly because I'm not a particularly imaginative person and it's the first thing that came up to me. But if you are creating a package for Notepad++, then you might go Choco new Notepad++, i.e. the name of the underlying application. Or if it was Chrome, Google Chrome, you would go Choco new Google Chrome. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to run Choco new package A. And what we'll see happening over on the left-hand side here is that it has scaffolded out into that package A folder all of the files that are contained within the default template. So if we dig into this and we have a look, what it's scaffolded out for us is it's given us a new spec file. So anyone that's seen some of the live streams that Josh has done, where he's walked through how to create a Chocolatey package, there'll be information. Some of this information will be common to you. You'll have already seen some of this, but the new spec file is essentially the metadata information for everything that is the Chocolatey package. So that's the ID, the title, the version, who owns the package, who maintains the package, etc. So what's been scaffolded out here is a complete new spec file with lots of comments in it that explain exactly what each attribute is for, why you want to use it, etc. So it's giving you all the information that you need in terms of filling out that new spec file to be specific to the package that you're currently creating. So you've got a new spec file. There's a readme.md file in here. So again, if this is the first time that you're creating a package, there's lots of information in here about how you can create a package. So we would encourage you to read all of the information that's in here to get to grips with how things work and what you need to do when you're creating your package. So there's lots of information there with links off to various pieces of our documentation. There's a to-do.txt file which walks through what has been done and maybe what still needs to be done. So this is like your checklist of things that you might still need to do in order to complete the package. And then drilling down slightly into this tools folder, we've got essentially all of the files that we as Chocolatey package moderators or owners of the Chocolatey community repository might expect there to be within a package. Again, depending on what sort of package it is, because you can have a before modify script, you can have an install script, and you can have an uninstall script. So again, within these files, there are lots of comments that explain what this file is for and how you might want to use it. And then if we go down in the Chocolatey install.ps1 file, again, there's lots of comments about how you can create a package. I'm seeing a comment somewhere that I'm not sure if I need to do something with it or not. But so there's a Chocolatey install file has all of the things that you might want to do within this package. So is this package installing an exe? Is this package installing an MSI, etc.? This installation script goes through and explains what these attributes are, what they're for, and how you can make use of them. So a lot of the comments in here you might not want or need, but it's a template. You use what you want and you take advantage of the things that are in there. And then if you don't need them, you can just delete them. And the same is true within the Chocolatey uninstall.ps1 file. It walks you through kind of your atypical uninstallation script and then tries to decide whether, and from there you can decide which parts of it you want, which parts you need, etc. So that's a kind of a brief overview of the files contained within the default template. But one thing that you might have noticed, especially if I go back to the new spec file, is that within here, there are some things that have got these underscore nomenclatures within the attributes. So there's a replace here on the summary, the description. There's a replace here on the version number. So because this is a templating engine, contained within the default templates, there is the concept of tokenized variables. So when you run the choco new command, you can actually pass in some of those values and they'll be replaced at the point in time when it's generating the actual template. So to show that in action, what I mean by that is if I come back over here and I run this command instead, so I'm going to go over here and I'll let you see it in action. So I clear the screen here. What I'm doing here is I'm passing in an option called package version, and I'm just going to do it with 321. So if I run that, it scaffolded out those same files, but while it was doing that, it saw that I passed in the package version, and then now, as a result, if I go into my the files that were scaffolded, it's now got 321 as the version number rather than that underscore replace version number. So why is that important? That's important because you can then start at the command line, or perhaps as part of your automation system, you can start providing some of that information at the command line when you're generating the template or generating the instance of the package from the template, so that you don't need to come in here afterwards and make those changes yourself. So again, as part of an automation system, you could configure a template or the execution of this template to have lots of information contained within it. So the example of that, if I go back to my to-do text here, is I've got a more complicated or a slightly longer command line, and I've opted to make it a multi-line PowerShell script, so just so that we can see it in action. But here, what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to pass in package version 456, maintainer name gep13, maintainer repository or repo, and here's a URL to my repository, installer type, URL64. These are all the things that you would ultimately have to put into the package files. You can actually do this at the command line as well. So if I run that and then have a look at the scaffolded out package C files, then let's have a look at the install.ps1 file. Here we'll see that some of that information has now flowed through from the command line into those scaffolded templated files. So rather than having to come in here afterwards and put this information in, I can put it in at the point of generating the template. So lots of those pieces of information have then flowed through. So again, if I go up to the new spec file, we'll see more things here. Version number 456 is there. I forget exactly what I passed in, but more of these information, I think it's actually some of the sections that are commented out. So like so my gep13 owner name has flowed into the owner section, which is commented out within the template, but it's ultimately something that you might want or need. So the one thing that I wanted to point out, and the important thing here, is that what the command that I used was slightly different from your typical command line that you might have seen Chocolatey used, because normally options that are passed in with Chocolatey use the double hyphen and then the option name when you're passing it into Chocolatey CLI. The tokenization that we do is slightly different, so it doesn't use the dash dash. It just uses the name of the tokenized value and then the equals of and the value that you want to associate with it. So it's slightly different to how you typically want to pass options into Chocolatey CLI, but it is something that is documented on our website. So I encourage you to go and have a look at that. And just be careful when you are doing that, because it has tripped some people up in the past. So that is the default template. And what we can see is that, or what you will hopefully have seen, rather, is that there's quite a lot of reusable components in there that within the default template is not necessarily immediately useful, in the sense that the default template has lots of additional information that's there really intended for the first person that's ever creating a chocolatey package. So if I was using this template, I would have to come in here and I'd have to do a lot of deleting of things that I didn't need. I'd have to do a lot of tidy up in order to make this template usable for me for my end result. So what you can actually do, though, is you can create your own templates and then use the exact same functionality of tokenization to allow you to construct a much more focused template that is reusable in exactly your context. So the way that I'm going to show that in action is I'm going to install a template package. Now, we'll come to, at the end of this demo, how to create a template package. But for now, I'm going to use one that already exists, because there's quite a few on the Chocolatey community repository already. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to Control-C out of this, and I'm going to run the command to install a community-owned template package, which is, that's not what I copied onto my clipboard. I'm going to install a template that is aimed at creating VS Code extension packages. VS Code. Let me say that differently. This template is aimed at making the creation of a Chocolatey package that installs a VS Code extension that much easier. So I'm going to go ahead and install that. It just installs as a normal Chocolatey package, as Paul mentioned. And what ends up happening is, over in this templates folder, I've now got a VS Code folder. And if we look in there, we can see these are the files that will ultimately be used to scaffold out a new instance of this template for a package. So you'll see straight away that there's fewer files in play. There's a chocolatey install.ps1 file, a chocolatey uninstall.ps1 file, and there's a new spec file. So, but straight away you'll see that there's fewer comments, because the creator or the owner of this template package has made a specific point of saying what is required to do for a package that installs a VS Code extension. It's one line of PowerShell, which is to call the install-VS Code extension commandlet, and the only really tokenized value that's needed is the extension ID. And this install VS Code extension, I think, comes from a dependency package. So if we scroll down in here, yes, there's a dependency here that is the VS Code extension package that brings in the function, the PowerShell method that allows that installation of that VS Code extension. So really, we're seeing the culmination of two things here. We spoke about the extension packages and how they work in last week's or last month's stream, and now we're seeing how we can combine the usage of dependencies for those extension packages within a template that we're now creating. So the template itself is much more focused on what it's trying to achieve. So what that means is, if I go ahead and close these off, I'll go back to my to-do text. That's not my to-do text. That's the one within the package. This is my one here. If I go ahead and list out the templates that we've now got, we'll see that we've got still the default template, but we've now got this VS Code template. Now, what we can get information-wise from the info command, where we couldn't get any info on the built-in template previously, my ability to copy and paste and into this PowerShell window is suffering. I'll try that again. So now I'm going to run template info on the VS Code one, and we get much more information this time round, including a list of available parameters that can be passed into this template. So what the template list command has done is it's went into all of these files within that template folder. It's found all the ones that have got a square bracket contained within it, and it's extracted those and made them available at the command line. So straight away, I can get information about what options that we can pass in. So we saw one, which was the extension ID, but we've also got the other ones that we can use and create a tokenized instance of that template for what we're trying to achieve. So to show that in action, if I go back and I'll run this one, I'm going to take this command, which is to create a new package, which is package E with the VS Code extension template. And I'm going to use the extension ID of get13. That's me. For anyone who doesn't know, that's my handle just about everywhere on the internet. So now if I go and look at the install.ps1, we'll see that now the extension ID has flowed through, and I've been able to create essentially what is now a complete package ready for installing a fictional VS Code extension called get13. That's then flowed through into the uninstall, but there's still available tokenized values for the likes of the version. So if I go back to my to-do.txt, and I'll run one more bigger command again, which is to make use of all available options for this template. So I'll just clear the screen here again one more time and then run this. What this is going to generate in package F is the same thing again, but now we've filled out the version number. We've filled out things like the owner. We've filled out all of the information that was available so the description here, the information that was passed in via the description has been appended to the end, but arguably the start of this description still isn't quite what we need. But this gives us an idea of what can be achieved within a template that is aimed at specifically creating packages for VS Code extension Chocolatey packages. So it's much more laser focused on what you're trying to achieve, and it doesn't have all the additional information that was part of the default template. So with that in mind, I'm going to look back at my to-do.txt, and what I'm going to do is just to show what they do, or to get a brief overview of them. I'm going to install some of the other template packages that exist on the community repository. One is called the msi.template, one is called the zip.template, and one is called the Notepad++ plugin template. So the names of these hopefully give an indication of what they're for. But the MSI template, so again, I'm looking in the C program data Chocolatey templates folder and just looking at the raw files for the template. But if I go in here and look at the Chocolatey install.ps1, then straight away, it's a much more laser focused Chocolatey install.ps1. It doesn't have all of those comments, but it does have the elements of the Chocolatey install.ps1 that are specific to an MSI. So it knows that the file type's an MSI. It knows that there's a checksum and a checksum type needed. It knows that there's silent arguments needed, etc. And because all of these are tokenized parameters that can be passed into the Chocolatey install.ps1, we can then use them in the choco new command, for example. It then includes the other kind of files that are associated with an MSI package, because if you create the MSI package as an embedded package, it knows that it needs a license.txt, and it knows that it needs a verification.txt. So it guides you down the path of having those as part of your template. The zip template, I've not hit enter on my last command because it's not got the Notepad++ extension template package there. And the zip one, again, it's laser focused into what it's trying to achieve, which is the installation of a zip package. So it's doing the install Chocolatey zip package function, and all the other things have been removed. And the last one that I wanted to highlight here is the Notepad++ plugin template. So that's similar to what's being done for VS Code and installing extension into VS Code. This is slightly more complicated because you have to find where Notepad++ is installed and you have to do a bit of work. But again, having the template there where all of that work's already being done means that you can quite quickly create an extension package or a plugin package for Notepad++. Okay, so now that I've got 4 templates installed, if I go back to my to-do.txt and I rerun my template list, I'll clear this out again. We'll see that I've now got 4 custom templates installed, but I only had 1 before. And then just to illustrate the point again, if I take the template info command and this time run the Notepad++ plugin, we'll see again that we get a list of all the parameters that can be passed into it. So with that, I'm not seeing any questions pop up, and Paul hasn't appeared on my screen. So I'm going to keep going because the last thing that I wanted to talk about here was what do we need to do in order to create a custom template package? And what would I want to put into there to make it, again, specific to what I wanted or what I needed? So what I've got here, what I've got up here actually within this templates folder is, again, I've been highly imaginative and I've said, well, I want to create an MSI template, but I'm going to call it the GEP13 MSI template. So what you need to do to create a template package is, first of all, give it a name. So create a folder with a name in it. And then within that folder, we're going to create a templates folder. And then obviously we're going to need, I'm going to delete that. That shouldn't have been there. I'll come to that. We need to create a new spec file for this template package. So this is, it's got the ID, GEP13 MSI template. It's got a version, it's got a title, it's got an author, which was me, project URL, it's got some tags, it's got a summary that this is a custom template package for creating Chocolatey packages that install an MSI package. So we're just stubbing out the information that we need in order to create the package itself. And then the actual pieces of information that is the template itself exists within the templates folder. So in here, I want to have a new spec file that is templated. So the way that a template package understands how to do that is that you create a file that is that matches the name of the package, but you essentially reverse the last 2 extensions that were on the previous one. So it becomes GEP13 MSI.newspec and then .template. So the .template is what instructs the choco new command to understand that that is a template that can be used when someone uses choco new with this template name. So you'll see here that I've pretty much made everything within this templated new spec file tokenizable. So I've got pretty much everything here as ID, title, version, authors, owners, description, tags. All of those, all of that information can be passed in at the command line because I want to make this template reusable as much as possible without having to manually edit the generated file. So I'm making it so that it's got everything that I want. So in the previous example, the description didn't quite work because it already had some, or it still had some non-templated information within the description. Here I'm saying, well, actually, I want the entire description passed in at the command line to be accepted and not have any information left over. In the same way that the owners that sometimes has owners and then other pieces of information, I don't want that. I just want to have this template is going to have a specific new spec file that is reusable across lots and lots and lots of uses. And then within my MSI template file, I'm only going to have an install script. Now, that's because I know that when I install an MSI with Chocolatey CLI, the Chocolatey's built-in auto uninstaller, for the most part, is able to deal with that straight away. So you don't typically need an uninstall script if you're installing an MSI. So I know that within my template, and all I'm going to have when I create a package with my template is I'm just going to have an install script. And this install script is going to be very, very terse in what it can actually do. or what it's going to do. So it's going to know what the file type is. It's going to have the ability to pass in overridable silent args, and then already I know that I want to have an MSI log generated when the installation happens. So that's already been scaffolded out, and I don't have to do anything about that. I want to control what the valid exit codes are, and then I'm just going to install the MSI using the install Chocolatey install package. That's because the way that I'm going to create packages with this template is that they're all going to be embedded packages. So the MSI is going to be within the tools folder, but that would come as part of my other automation that I would do when I'm running these things. So it's a very, very terse template, but it does exactly what I want to do within my organization, my fictional organization that I would use this template in. And then just to show something in action, I've got just a completely random custom value, tokenized value up here, just to see it actually working. So with that in play, these are all the files that make up my template package. But we actually need to first create the package by packing it, and then I need to install it so it can be usable. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to cd into that folder because that's where everything lives. And then I'm going to run chocopack, which will generate the nupkeg from those files. So if I go in here, we'll see that that nupkeg has now been generated. And then if I install that nupkeg, so I was doing everything from PowerShell before. I'm going to go back to PowerShell. So if I cd into this one, I'm going to Choco install that template package. I'm using the -- source dot just to indicate that I want to install it from the current folder that I'm in. So that's going to install as a template in the same way that the previous ones did. So we've now got GEP13 MSI over here in the program data Chocolatey templates folder. And then my folders, that folder then contains all of the templated files that was contained within that templates folder, which is where I generated everything from. So hopefully it all makes sense in terms of how the hierarchy of the folders within the template package, how that translates down into the actual templates folder within the C program data Chocolatey folder. So again, down here, everything is still tokenized at this point because these are the template files. So the last thing that I would need to do is I would actually need to start making use of that template. So just before doing that, just to make sure that it's all working, I'm going to run the Choco template info command on that GEP13 MSI template. And it'll show me all of the options that can be passed in. So let's go ahead and start making use of that. So the first thing I'm going to do is just do it without any options passed in, just to show it being used. So this time around, I'm going to do package G. So package G has been created, and then it's been, all of those tokenized values are still there. They haven't been replaced because, well, we haven't passed them in. We didn't pass them into the Choco new command. And everything here has still also got just those tokenized values still not there ready. They haven't been filled in yet. But we can then fill them in by running a much bigger command, which is choco new package H. And this time round, I'm going to pass in pretty much everything that I could before. So I'm going to copy that and go back to PowerShell one last time. And then I'm going to hit go on that. So this time package H is a very customized, or it's a very customized is the bad sense of the word. This is an instance of my fully customized template package that allows me to create a very laser focused package whose sole intention is to install an MSI that I would then pre-bundle into an embedded package. But it's all executable from the command line with a few short options passed into it. I can create a package that is repeatable within my environment. So everything is then stubbed out. I haven't had to change anything in this file because it's all been stubbed out for me. If I go into the chocolatey install.ps1 file, again, everything's been stubbed out. That custom value of Bob's has flowed through. The file location, which is gep13.msi, that is what I would put in place through automation. That get13.msi would live in this tools folder. And then this script knows that that's where it's running it from. It's got all the silent variables passed into it, and it's got a log that it's going to be created specifically for this package installation. It's got the valid exit code for this MSI, and that's the job done. So that package, if I were then to run Choco Pack on the files that have just been generated, then that nupkeg is then ready for shipping within my internal repository. I might have an internal Nexus repository or a ProGet repository. So with a few short commands, I can run, as part of my automation, which generates the MSI, I can run Choco New to generate the template, generate the packaging scripts from a template specific to that application, and then run Choco Pack and Choco Push, and then straight away I have a installable artifact that can be then used for testing or to actual shipping to production. So all of that is to say that if I go back over here and look at the docs that I started out at, if I scroll all the way down at the bottom here, there is a link to a blog post, I want to say. Where's the blog post that I wanted to link to? Am I on the right page? Hold on. Is it this one? Or is that the same page? It's not, but I know where I am now. Sorry. I will find it. It's this one. So if I go to this page and I scroll all the way down to the bottom, then there's a link here to a blog post from 2016. And this was from the development team within Walmart, who were some of the early adopters of templated packages. And what we're seeing here is what they do within their infrastructure to make it so that they can build their applications, package them up into Chocolatey packages, run their custom templates to create the package and make it a fully end-to-end shippable product. So this is a really interesting blog post to go through to see exactly how they have leaned on the templating engine that exists within Chocolatey, the tokenization that's possible, and how they ended up at an endpoint where they had full control over everything that they wanted to ship. So it was really interesting, especially when things like this comes into it. So previously, when I was running the command line, I had a hard-coded set of silent arguments that I wanted to pass into my template. But they went one step further and said, well, depending on the installer type, you can then add a switch here to then say, well, it's an EXE or an MSI or an MSU. Then pass in the correct silent arguments for the type of installer that you are doing as part of this automation. But all of that just flows through into the Choco New command, just as the silent arguments that you want to pass in. So it's very flexible, and then I would argue that quite powerful in what you're trying to achieve, especially if you are an organization who is creating lots of internal applications that you know how you want to package them up, and it's the same thing over and over again. Making use of the Choco New command as part of those automations means that you get a very flexible but powerful end result, pulling all these things together. So to summarize, because I'm coming to the end of my time here, to summarize what I'm suggesting is that with what we learned last week, which is the creation or the usage of extension packages, as well as the creation and usage of template packages, you can put those two things together to create a very flexible way to construct Chocolatey packages that make use of common functions within an extension package. And then for creating lots of those as part of your internal automations within your organization, you use templates to put them together to the point that you can run Choco New, Choco Pack, Choco Push, and then that package is then available for installation, testing, and ultimately production as well. Now, the only thing that I haven't ever done, because I wasn't quite able to get it working for how I wanted it to work, and there was a little bit of inception going on, but it was, how do you create a template package for creating an extension? But the intersection of the templating engine and how extensions work, I could never quite put those two things together to allow the creation of a template that would allow the creation of an extension. But that's a job for a different day. If someone wants to take that on, I'm okay with that, because I've already expended enough brain cells on trying to get that to work. But I think, Paul, if you're still there, that was all I had to discuss about template packages, how they're used, and how you create them. So, any questions about any of that?
I was just not going to pop in to the screen here and just leave you hanging just to see how you handled it. Yeah, there's been a little bit of interaction in the chat, yes, between Corey and Stevie in particular, but mainly kind of talking around about your PowerShell skills, and extending a template with a PowerShell wrapper is a very fun thing to do. From
My skills
Stevie.
are enviable.
I don't actually think that's what they said, but yes,
I'll read the chat later. I'm sure that's what they said.
that's what
Otherwise,
they meant.
yeah,
They might not
I
have
read
said it,
between the
but
lines. I read between
yeah.
the lines. So, yeah.
So no actual questions about template packages, which is good. In one hand, because that means that everybody understood what we were or what you were talking about today. On the other hand, it means that potentially people haven't been able to play with this enough in order to have those questions. So as we kind of said, or as I said at the beginning, and a bit like extension packages that we talked about last month. Again, if you want to find that out and watch that back, you can get it on your YouTube channel, youtube.com/chocolatey software, all one word. It's an underused part of the chocolatey packaging ecosystem, I suppose, is maybe the word to use to bring them all together. But like extension packages, as I said, template packages, they're for some reason, they're just not as used as much. We don't talk about them as much, but they're very, very powerful parts.
Yeah.
Of chocolatey packages, and they make packaging, this, talking about template packages, and they make creating your packages a lot simpler, especially when you've got the Walmart one on the screen there. They're creating lots and lots of packages, so that template saves them a huge amount of work.
Yeah.
Because they don't have to worry about the human error as well. That, I've typoed something in here, because you're just passing parameters into a template that has all of the known working code in it. To begin with, so it makes things a lot easier. It makes repetition simpler, and less error prone as well, which helps when you're creating lots of packages, particularly in an organizational context. So, yeah, it's a great feature to have, and hopefully we'll talk about it more in the future, and more people will pick it up and make their packaging simpler.
I like to say, because you can go from what is the default template that's got lots of words, lots of examples, down to a fully customized one that's specific to what you're trying to achieve. It makes it very flexible. And it means you can save some mouse clicks, having to select a bunch of file things within the template to delete a bunch of things. You get it to be exactly what you want it for. So, yeah, no, it's entirely useful. Oh, you're muted, Paul, or you're not coming through anymore.
I'm muted and I'm talking. I was saying that we were a bit zoomed in there. That's a bit much. I prefer that one. Back a little bit. So, okay. As I said, no kind of questions in the chat, which is great. So I think we'll just kind of wrap up today. We're just about on time. We've got a few minutes. So Gary, thank you for taking us through the demos and explaining how the Chocolatey template packages work, and showing us how they can be used to simplify your chocolatey packaging. And as I mentioned at the start, we have a survey. I'm going to pop it on the screen for a talk, which would probably make sense. Let me see. There, it's there. Yep. So we've got a survey, and we'd really appreciate you completing that survey. So the reasons being is we want to make sure that the content we produce is what you want to see. There's no point me and Gary, or me and Stevie and Gary, or any of the Chocolatey team sitting here providing great content that we think is great content if it's not what you want to see. If you want to see streams on something different, then you need to let us know. So you can find the link in the description wherever you found this video. It's on screen now as well. It's ch0.co/stream survey. 3 questions will take you 10 seconds to complete. Only one of them's mandatory, and that's to rate how fantastic I was on the how to rate the stream itself, how great it was, and not just me. So yeah, if you could do that, we would really, really appreciate it. If you also want to get notified of all of the content that we create, you can join our community hub on Discord. You can subscribe to us on YouTube and click the notification bell. It's really important because when you do that, YouTube will notify you when we're next streaming. You can also follow us on various social media accounts, Twitter or X, Mastodon, LinkedIn, Facebook, Blue Sky, and Twitch. We're on all of those things. You can find the links to all of them in our homepage, chocolatey.org. I'll scroll right to the bottom. You'll find it there. It will also be in the description of wherever you found this video as well. Our next live stream is Unpacking Software, and that's on Thursday, the 21st of November at 5 p.m. UTC. So that's the third Thursday of the month. Gary will be there, but I'm on holiday, so no rants from me in that stream. Maybe you don't want to join because of that. Maybe you do. Maybe you should let us know that you enjoy Paul ranting about stuff. That would be great. Paul shouting at clouds is awesome. Let us know that as well. But that'll also be our final Unpacking Software live stream of the year. As I said, Gary will be there. I forgot to mention Stevie will be there as well. So Gary and Stevie will be picking that one up. But don't miss it because it is the last one of the year. Don't miss our usual mix of news, chat, opinion, and all things software and software management. We also make that one available as a podcast, so you'll be able to listen to it in your podcast manager of choice. Our next product spotlight live stream, that's where we look at the chocolate products, the releases, upcoming releases, and basically this stream. So the next one of this is on Thursday, the 5th of December, and that'll be a final one for 2024. So lots of final ones. And again, that's at 5 p.m. UTC, and it'll be with Josh King this time. So Josh will be covering best practices on securing your Chocolatey central management agent connections. So if you're a Chocolatey for Business customer, do not miss this one. Really, really cool what Josh is going to show us. So yeah, he will go through how you would secure those connections using Chocolatey central management. It's going to be fantastic. So a good one to finish out the year with. We hope to see you there. Thank you for your time today. We really appreciate it. Remember to fill in that survey. Take care, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.